So this is my review for Black Phone 2. Now, I was really excited for this movie. I was also a little worried how they were going to continue the story with the fact that Ethan Hawke's character died at the end of the first movie. Overall, I thought this was an okay movie. I was disappointed in this movie. I found this to be a middle of the road sequel. Like I love the first Black Phone movie, and for me, this was a step down. Let me start with the positives in this movie. Ethan Hawke, I think, is still great in this movie as a character. I think the whole cast do a great job. I think Mason Deems, who I think he's been like I've loved him in everything I've seen him in. I think he gives a great performance in this again. You know, I felt invested in his character. I liked how they showed how his character is dealing with trauma from the events of the first movie. So I like the direction they take with his character. I think the actress who plays Mason Deems' character, Finney's younger sister, Madeline Cree, which I'm probably pronouncing her last name on there. Sorry about that. I think she's great in this movie. Like I really feel invested in her character in this movie, and I like the. I think just you really buy her as brother and sister, and I would say she's the main character of the movie because you see her, you see how she starts to her powers start to expand more. When they show in the first movie, she has like a this she has like a this psychic sense ability power wise for character, and they go more into that in this movie. So I would say she kind of becomes the lead character of the movie, and I just think that there's a lot of nice moments between those two characters. I like how it wraps up when it comes to the story at the end of this movie. I thought it wrapped up really well. And overall, I think the rest of the cast, I think is fine. The actor who plays the dad in the movie, I wish we got to see more scenes with his character in this movie because I think in the first movie he was kind of like he was a drunk and I would like to have seen more of his character in this movie. I would like to have seen more scenes between the son, daughter, and the dad in this movie because I feel like we didn't get a whole lot of it in this movie. But I think he's good in this movie too. So I went. So my negatives with this movie. Oh, another positive about this movie is that I really love how the nightmare sequences look in this movie when it comes to the dream sequences. Like one of the things that I was actually excited for with this movie when I saw a trailer for it is that it was definitely giving Nightmare on Elm Street vibes when it came to the dream sequences. Where it was like, okay, he's basically Freddy now. Ethan the Hawk's character, the grabber, where he's attacking people in their dreams. And I think the aesthetic, the way it like has this fuzzy, static look to the dream sequences, I think looks really cool. It makes it stand out, and it looks really unique the way the dream sequences look in this movie. So I really like the look of the dream sequences in this movie, and there's some fun dream sequences in this movie. The negatives with this movie for me is that I do think the first half is a lot of exposition, where it felt to me it took a while for the movie to get going. Like the grabber doesn't really come into the movie until later on, and I don't mind building up tension or building up the story, but a lot of the first half of the movie, there's just so much exposition dump and so much of like having everything connect now, where you go more into details of what happened to the kid's mom and how she's connected to Grabba and all the kids and all that got kidnapped by the Grabba. Like one of the issues I have with this movie is that there's so much exposition in it, and they do a whole thing where everything's connected in this movie now to a point where it gets convoluted for me personally. I was like, you don't need to connect everything together because for me it makes the world feel smaller. And in this movie, it felt like there was like so much exposition, so much of connecting every little detail from the first movie that it for me took a slow start to the movie. The grab is not in the movie for the first half a whole lot, and I would like to see more of those dream sequences. The negative side to the dream sequences in this movie, I like to see more of those dream sequences, and I love the aesthetic look. And as a Nightmare on Elm Street fan, you know, since we're not going to get a Nightmare movie anytime soon, it seems. I was excited because of that fact. Since we weren't going to get a Nightmare movie anytime soon, I was like, oh, okay, well, at least we have Black Phone 2. The problem with that, though, is the negative side to that is that this movie feels like a lot of this movie just feels like stuff I've seen from other horror movies. Like the Nightmare stuff, as much as I think it looks cool and I'd like to see more of that, more Nightmare like dream sequences in this movie. he's basically Freddy Krueger in this movie. He's an Oscar character now. Like to me, the first movie felt more grounded, more smaller, and told for me felt like a more personal story. And the first movie felt like it had its unique identity, including the Grabber character. The Grabber character is basically Freddy Krueger in this movie to me now. And just a lot of the movie story wise feels very generic and just stuff I've seen from other horror movies. And I know the director both movies said he's a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street, and you can tell in this movie the director is, but I like it feels like the Platform Two just lost. Like it felt to me like the first movie had its own identity. This movie feels like it's just borrowing from other horror movies to me, so it just feels a lot of times generic. And I think it maybe leads a little too much into the dream stuff, where it's just like it just feels too much like a nightmare movie at times. And like I said, a slow start to the movie. It gets very convoluted. And the grabber, I wish he was in the movie more. He's really not in the movie that much for the first half. He doesn't really show up in towards the end. And another problem with this movie is that you don't really see the grabber kill anybody in this movie. Like, and I'm not saying you need to have a horror movie where you have like people getting killed. In this movie, though, nobody like dies. Like there's a couple at the end where you think they're gonna die on the ice at the end, and those characters survive. And I'm like, I think you could have had him shown him like showed some like deaths in this movie to add a little bit of stakes to it because it felt kind of tame for a horror movie because of the fact you don't really see him for the first chunk of the movie at all that much. Like he's in a brief scene at the beginning of the movie. The grabber though doesn't show up for until like the second half of the movie, and you don't see him actually like kill anybody in the dream sequences. And I think the rules of the dream sequences in this movie are a little like they're a little loose in this movie. Like I was kind of like they don't make the rules completely clear in this movie when it comes to the dream sequences. So I feel like they played at times a little loose with the rules. What when they don't really get into like what the rules are, how it works in this movie. And when it comes to the, and even though like there's, I think it wraps up nicely with the brother and sister and the mom and that whole story with the mom. And there's a nice, I do really like the nice sweet moment they have at the end with the daughter on the phone talking to the mom. I think that's the night, and her like telling her brother, and just getting it, a chance to hear the mom. I think that's a great sweet moment at the end. It wraps up really well. The thing is though with the mom, I felt like again it's one of those things where they're trying to connect everything together now in this movie. Like this movie feels like a bigger movie and just loses the small, more personal purse that the first movie had. The first movie to you was unique, it stood out. This movie it just felt like it got so convoluted with trying to connect everything and making the world feel small because you're going for a bigger story. So overall, I thought it was okay, Black Phone 2. Like to me, I was disappointed in this sequel. It's not a bad sequel. I don't think it was really good or great either. It was just kind of middle of the road sequel for me, where there's things I like about it. There's also some things that I felt like I wasn't a fan of, and just overall, it's just middle. It's just very like middle of the road okay movie in my opinion. Black Phone 2. It's not a terrible sequel. It's not a memorable sequel either to me though. I'll definitely say the first one is better. So that's my thoughts on Black Phone 2. Until next time, movie fans.